Hi, it's Jeff Chalmers here from discoverdouble-bass.com, which is the home of online video double bass lessons and courses. So if you want to learn about this instrument, whether you're an advanced player, somebody who's new to the double bass, please go and check out our website because we have a range of, well, lessons and courses and different tutors, including the great Joseph Conyers. Thank you for joining me today, Joseph.
My pleasure.
Now, Joseph is a member of the Philadelphia Orchestra, and he's a wonderful orchestral bass player. And we've been filming a series of lessons about orchestral playing. And we had a few questions from the audience. And one of them was about seated playing and posture and whether you play standing and how high you should have your end pin.
Sure.
And we've got a few minutes, so I thought maybe you might be able to speak on that and answer a few of or address a few of the areas around posture and playing seated.
Sure. Well, I can speak for the States. I can't speak for other parts of the world because I haven't seen the orchestras, not all the orchestras at least, in the other parts of the world, but in the States, generally an orchestra, folks play seated.
Yeah.
For all kinds of reasons. It's easier for page turns and the how much room someone needs on the stage. And that's just kind of been accepted. There are players who stand, but again, the vast majority do sit in the orchestra.
That's the same here. I can think of one or two who do stand, but
Very good.
But they're rarer than,
Okay.
the vast majority of people play seated.
Now, those same players might very well, if they have a solo opportunity, a recital or a solo performance with an orchestra, then play standing. That's where I differ because I even do my solos seated. Now, whether it's because I'm not very adventurous or lazy to even try it out, but I'll just talk now just why I play seated in general.
Yeah.
And the difference between playing seated and standing, and then hopefully that will help your audience understand. So one of the main reasons I play seated is because I feel like I have access to the instrument, like full access without having to do much of anything. Now, I say this with my seating posture because I know this is a very popular kind of seating posture or even standing posture for a lot. I don't like this because it makes the G string further away and it's harder for my hand to reach. So some people might say I have a more cellistic approach where the bass is a little bit more central. But I like this because I don't have to move my body or change the bass, the angle of the bass, to do anything on the instrument, whether I'm playing at the tip of the bow, on the G string, frog tip.
Are you turning the instrument slightly though? If you're playing like for longer periods, perhaps a passage on the G or the E, would the bass be slightly more forward facing? Or
Yes, there is always kind of a little bit, like I might lean forward and you see the bass does come in as I'm playing high. But the generality is that I have access.
And with your left hand, it's all there.
It's
you can
correct.
reach into thumb position.
That is correct.
It's not like a new set of positions that you move into.
Correct.
It's all the same thing.
Now, again, everyone's different. I mean, if someone does play like this, maybe you'll say, well, they'll jump like this. But for me, playing the bass is hard enough, so I don't need to add acrobatics to the mix. I like for things to be as simple as possible. But again, that's just me and just the way I function. So for standing, I only played standing when I started playing the double bass.
Yeah.
And I said I was never really going to sit down, but I was at Brevard Music Center in the United States, and I was second chair in this orchestra, and the principal said, well, could you sit, because I'd like to be able to see the rest of the section. And I've been sitting ever since. That was in 8th grade. So 8th grade was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But one of the things about playing standing, and I will quantify this, for those who are watching and getting very concerned, I will continue. But for playing standing, when you're playing here and then having to go into thumb position, there's this weird place where the bass falls.
Yes, you have to.
That to me is a nightmare.
Yeah.
To have the bass move like that. Now, other people have managed it very well. Again, I'm not that talented, so I have to work with what I can know and what I can do. So that's one reason why I don't stand. That said, Jeff, and this is to address the people who say, well, I stand. You can have, the egg pin has become very popular, and these bent end pins. What those pins do is actually throw the bass up and make the bass fall into the body, as if you were seated.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, I've just been too lazy to try it out.
Hey, I've got a really cool. I should have bought that this week if we'd have. I've just thought of this now. Is that I actually have a little device that goes in a regular end pin socket that replicates that and provides the bent end pin. And in fact, it was used by David Alan Moore.
Oh, very good. Yes.
So I think it's called a Rob pin. I think I will provide a link below, of course, so people can see this. But it was really effective, and it just fitted in a regular bass. And David plays with the angled end pin or the bath style.
Sure.
So his basses are set up that way, and it worked, and he was happy with it, and it was just that doesn't have an angled end pin socket. It's just got a regular end pin socket,
right?
So that was a pretty interesting thing, but it was. But yeah, the way that it brings the bass up.
It brings up and then it kind of pushes it in. That's the most important thing, because it feels like, so then it feels like you're sitting, and then you have that same access as if you were sitting while you stand. And so I think that's absolutely fine. I think there's so many bass players using it. What you see less and less of are soloist bass players playing with a straight end pin.
Yes.
That's what you start to see. I mean, it was a kind of thing because people just dealt with it.
Yeah.
the people hadn't come up with ideas or inventions to modify the instrument so that it was easier to play standing. But as I said, nowadays it's very rare to find someone who plays with a straight end pin as a soloist, just for those reasons we've mentioned.
For the access. And in terms of your legs, I mean, and this sounds like a funny question, but I get asked this a few times via the website. People are asking where their legs go.
Got it.
But you seem quite mobile. I've noticed this week that you seem to be, it doesn't seem like you're rigid, like you've got this, it feels like maybe the legs move. I don't know, am I putting words in your mouth? I'm not sure.
No, it's fine. I think generally my approach is, I kind of want to be really kind of, how can I say, one with the ground, or have access to the ground, because I feel like that's where I get my energy. So for all those who are taking this course and I ask you that in the master class, that's where you get your energy from, is the ground. That said, I generally put my foot here, my left foot on this rung.
Yes.
On the first rung. When I'm playing a solo, I will sometimes put it on the higher rung if I've got, I play with the old school stool, because that's why I practiced someone else, again, in 8th grade, and I'm very, you see, maybe I'm a little resistant to change, Chef. We got to work on that. But the higher rung actually pushes the body, allows you to get it higher above the instrument. But in orchestra, when I'm playing orchestra, I don't necessarily need to play that high. So I'm generally on the first rung. For me, and everyone's body is different. Everyone's leg sizes are different. I mean, again, it's not one size fits all, Jeff. But for me, my left leg can be, whether it just comes on the outside of the bass. Sometimes it might come a little in, but generally I put it on the outside. Now, I started doing this one of my summers in college because the teacher I was working with at the time, Al Laszlo, noticed that when I had my knee against the back of the bass, I was actually stopping the bass from vibrating.
Yeah, I've heard,
because that's a huge vibrating mechanism, the back of the instrument. And to have your knee kind of jammed into the back of it, is you're literally deadening the bass while you play. So for that reason, I've always tried to put have the bass fall on the nodes of the instrument versus other parts. So this is on this node on the outside, and then the right is just in my thigh on the inner. And then my foot is pretty solid on the ground. This foot would never come off. That would be very strange to take this foot off the ground. But this is, I guess I would say this is how I feel the most grounded. I mean, I would really recommend things like Alexander technique and thinking about body alignment and the spine, and that will allow, how can I say, it would allow more insight in how to get around the instrument without kind of distorting yourself. Because I think that's really, really important. We do have a large instrument, and everyone's going to play it differently, and you have to figure out what works best for your body. So I'm a big advocate for even seeing an Alexander technique specialist at least once or twice, just to get a sense of like, bring in your instrument about, what can I do so I can play this instrument for a long time? Because that's something we haven't discussed, is kind of the long-term health of playing. My approach has always been just try to be as relaxed as possible. And you see that, in my bow grip, you see that kind of in my positioning. Just so that I can be as injury-free for as long as possible. And so far, that's been the case.
Oh, it's fantastic. I think that focus on longevity is really important for all of us, and I think most bass players have got stories of aches and pains along the way, of where they've changed their posture and it's really helped, and everyone's so different, and instruments are so different. So, yeah, there's a lot of different variables, but it's been wonderful to hear how you approach it, Joe. So thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing all of the lessons this week. It's been wonderful. If you want to learn more from Joe, you can check out all the links below, and also make sure that you follow his incredible Instagram account, which is Weatherclef. We will provide a link for that too. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.